Okay, I
Dev,
think
today's topic is generally not very serious. We were planning to talk about all the jingoism that's happening on Twitter and in uh, real life outside of Pakistan and India, where Pakistani and Indians are coming face to face with each other, and in a way, it's funny. Very rarely it's serious, sometimes it gets abusive, but most of it, especially on Twitter, it's very entertaining. Both parties have been telling each other how they're going to attack each other, but up till now, well, there is no such confirmation by the government. And Pakistani and Indians are at it again. And I guess that's the introduction of this topic. We're going to find out why Pakistani and Indian love doing that so much. There's like a meme war going on, and Pakistani has been really good at it. And there is this war of misinformation where everybody thinks that either India is going down or Pakistan is going down, when in real life there's exactly nothing going on. So, Shaji, why don't you take over?
okay. Thank you very much. I think last week we reached a stage where a lot of people actually assumed that the war is going to occur, India is going to attack Pakistan, but something stopped Indian government or authorities from taking that action. But as a rhetoric, we saw mostly Indian people uh, coming up with their jingoism. Within India, we saw the Muslims basically trying to show patriotism. We saw the Kashmiris showing their dismay with the Indian government. We saw the otherization of the Muslims within the Indian society. We saw Bangladeshi people coming out and joining the entire situation, and the rhetoric. We saw the Pakistanis, and we saw even the Khalistanis came out. The Khalistanis came out in a huge way. There were protests outside Pakistani embassy in the UK, but there were protests outside the Indian High Commission, consulate all over the world, mainly by Khalistanis. We saw the Baloch separatists join the Indians. We saw the Khalistanis join the Pakistanis. And I think authorities on both sides kind of realized the countries are so fragmented with enormous fault lines uh, that nothing much can be done without posing a huge risk. So that's my general take on that. And I think where the jingoism actually failed India in this entire situation is that there was so much hype and there was so little action in terms of jingoism, um, that majority of the Indian public wanted something to occur, but because nothing occurred, you began to see Bangladeshis and Pakistanis making fun of the Indians, that you're not doing anything, you're not capable of anything, that egged them on further. And as a result, nothing actually came out. It actually, this week, it became really funny to me because everything from Imran Khan has been sexually abused to uh, Bangladeshis don't have is sending uh, their navy in a funny rhetoric in small boats. Kind of memes came out. Then on the Pakistani side, they were talking about how will Pakistan serve tea this time when an Indian soldier is caught, when India has made sure that there's not going to be any water. So I don't know what's going on in those regards, but it seems the Indian authorities took the shock element out of the entire situation, and what we've got as a result is a no-show. Pakistan is very well prepared, even if something was to occur. And I think India kind of realizes, and now they're trying to save face. And the rhetoric is kind of dying down. And so far, nothing's occurred. With that, I'll go to Aditya, and then Aditya can elaborate, and then we can see where this jingoism is coming from on all sides. And then we'll go to Noor. Go ahead, Aditya.
Thank you so much. I believe the jingoism is not a recent phenomena. Uh, this ideas of a superior people uh, started in the 18th century. I won't go that back, but in the 18th century, the idea of to create the identity of a majority religion. Uh, the some of the scholars or people who were educated in the British education systems, they started coming up with this united Hindu identity to create a majority illusion of a majority. But coming back to the recent times in the 1980s, the jingoism actually started in the 1970s and 1980s. And surprise, you would be surprised that it was fueled by the Congress Party in the 70s and 18 in the 1970s and 80s, when Congress believed that they can somehow try to please the right wing factions of India and also keep their centrist or left wing or minority vote share. For example, Indira Gandhi tried to have some nice views or used some nice words for Savarkar, which was like you know not very much appreciated in their base. She called him a hero, kind of a revolutionary, which some people from the left believes not to be true. So she also tried to go to all the temples everywhere and try to portray herself as some kind of a Hindu goddess or a deity, whatever, more religious. In the 90s, uh, Rajiv Gandhi opened the gates of the Babari Masjid, when he got a backlash from the people after the Shah Banu case. He tried to please the Hindus, specifically the right wing fraction. And since the 2014, we have the modern news channels and all these digital media, which is all fueled by this idea that Hindus somehow are superior and they deserve to be the owners of this land, which is Bharata. And this, they also have attached these fictional stories behind its creation and a larger supernatural reason behind creation of this nation. And this racial superiority ideas, which is again a fascist idea according to me and according to a lot of other people and scholars. So it's not a recent idea, but it's just that people are discovering it who are not Indians, that how superiority ridden this idea is. And it's just unfolding, and you can have all the ideas that you wish to, but you just can't act on it. For example, India has this rhetoric that we will retaliate and we might attack Pakistan, but it's not that easy. Pakistan has nukes, they have a lot of tanks, they have missiles, they have every type of firepower that India can imagine, and India knows it very well. At least the top leadership does. So rhetoric is one thing and reality is another. That's my understanding.
Okay, Noor, what are your initial takes, and then we can open the conversation up.
Yeah, well, from my understanding, Muslims in the subcontinent, we're very patriotic to our culture, our our countries, for example, because most of the freedom movements were by Muslims anyway. So I think the Indians today are playing catch up, and this is why this extreme version of patriotism and oh, we can take your country, our economy is like this million trillion whatever, our army is like 10 billion times bigger than your one, or we gave you your country, for example. They keep telling me this, we gave you your country. This is if you go back to the British Empire, when they came into the so-called subcontinent, who was the one who supported them mainly? It was the people in the country, like in the subcontinent themselves. They were supporting the British Empire coming and making sure that they're the middleman. So they were considered like, I don't know what you call them in English. They're like the brown on the outside, white on the inside, that kind of thing. And these people, they remained inside today's India, whilst the Muslims, like in, let's say from the Pakistani side or the Bangladeshi side, or the Muslims inside India, they have we have a very fluctuating opinion about freedom and liberty and all that stuff. The way we see it is we have to respect our nations and our people, and we don't do it out of love. We do it out of like some sort of duty. Like we respect our culture, right? And I think Hindus also do that too. However, today's so-called jingoism that you're mentioning is to do with inferiority complex, a lot of inferiority complex, especially from the Indian side, because you'll never see a Muslim ever say, we are better than you, we have more than you, we are this, we are that, we are the other. We would never do this. But Indians are always telling us, we gave you a country, you are converted, you are not from here. Either we are from here converted by force, or our ancestors were forced into the religion by Turkish people. But I don't know. This is like really doesn't make sense to me. So anyways, back to my point is the jingoism that the Indians have today is they're playing catch up to the people of the Pakistani side and the Bangladeshi side. And for example, I'm from Bangladesh, so in 1971 when we had the separation, this specific time frame is used as an example to show how the fragmentation of the country is, or the people are, the religion, the Muslim people specifically are. But I don't think that's the case. I think when we separated, we did it based on different means and metrics. We didn't really do it based on our religious differences. It was more like cultural differences that we obviously had at the time. So what I'm trying to explain is the extreme jingoism that Indians have, or the Pakistanis and the Bangladeshis have, is like inferiority complex that they have. There's a lack of something in so-called Indians today who are very patriotic, because they are not content with what they already had. And this is why a lot of the Indians today are from this, like they're descended from people who supported the invasion of South Asia. They supported the British Empire. They supported so-called Mughal Empire to come and rule over them, because they believe that they deserve somebody to be better than them. And this is how the society actually runs now. So this is why a lot of Indians, they think that Bangladeshis, I'm a Bangladeshi, so in their mind, we are not good for them. We are like, they gave us our country, so therefore I should be below them. I should not be patriotic. I should not have some sort of positive opinion about my own country. I should always be under the thumb of Indians. And they have said this to me just because that's how they feel. But the truth is, like, the freedom movement itself, it didn't even start from Indians or Hindus, because they liked the empire. They wanted the empire to rule over them because they expected that, and it was like a good thing for them, because the higher class get higher positions, lower class got poorer. So that's just how society works. Sorry, I'm like on a tangent.
No. You actually made some very good points, and I would like to expand on a few of them. To begin with, like for instance, the inferiority complex. It's interesting when I speak to Pakistanis or Bangladeshis. I don't see them thinking that they should be this superpower, or they are something. But for some reason, Indians actually believe that they deserve a lot more than they've actually got. They think they're more powerful than they actually are. They give themselves huge credibility when it's not there. They give themselves, or think the globe basically sees them as a very, very important power, which happens to be the case to a certain extent, but not to the same extent as they actually believed. For instance, when Trump was getting inaugurated, a lot of the Indian media actually thought that now that Trump is there, Modi is going to be sitting right next to him, and Trump is going to say to Modi, come on, fix the Ukraine issue. You're friends on both sides, and it's going to happen in a zip. Uh, but Trump did invite China, but he did not invite India. Again, they kind of went silent on that. They fought in the Gaza conflict again. Uh, they're going to be invited because they have a good relation with Europe as well as Israel and the Arab countries, and they're going to say, India, please help come solve our problems. But they were again not even mentioned, and China out of nowhere became a player in that too. And if that was not enough, uh, I think the interesting thing was that when Modi did meet Trump, again, all Modi did was bring up Bangladesh and how a regime change has occurred, and all Trump said as a result, because that was addressed, not brought up by the Trump regime themselves, that whatever your interests are, I'm sure you can take care of them. But how the Indian media perceived that was very, very interesting. They basically said that Trump has said, Modi, you can handle the entire situation. Do you have a free hand in Bangladesh and the entire region? And I mean, so that statement in itself kind of shows that they are seeking permission in their own region from someone else, and they require that acknowledgement. I don't know why this psyche is within India, but I don't see that. Maybe Aditya can answer that, and maybe he perceives it in a different way. But I remember even Tendulkar was a great cricket player, but I remember Indian journalists used to go to Don Bradman, and he would be talking about everything other than Tendulkar, and out of the blue, the Indian player journalist would ask, "What do you think of Sachin Tendulkar?" Uh, and I still remember he responded, "He's a great player." Then they said, "Is he as good as you?" Obviously, he's going to say something positive, and that became the headline. Bradman said that he's a great player. So this kind of has amplified over the years, and now that is how they view the situation, which is really sad, because I think the Indian populace is now kind of living in a delusion where they believe themselves to be so much powerful than they actually are, and or a certain segment of the Indian society, because they didn't used to be like that. Even till early 2000s, you had some great journalists and debaters coming out of India. You had intellectuals, and very interesting to it used to be very interesting to listen to them. One of them happens to be Arnab Goswami. I remember when Arnab Goswami first broke onto the scene. Arnab Goswami used to be very unbiased. He was not causing that rhetoric, that shouting match, which he creates now. And I'm just like really extremely shocked how he has kind of devolved rather than evolving. So go ahead, Aditya. Do you see it in that same way? And when they they are so deluded, and they've made the population so deluded, do you actually believe that there is going to be a situation at some stage where the public is going to lose heart?
I disagree, and I think, like, there are some things which a person who has lived under that system or in that system understands better. So let me like tell you, try to tell you, like, how it's not true. Like, what you just said is not true. The Jingoism the hyper nationalism has always existed in India since independence. Like, if you believe that Congress is somehow a very liberal and progressive party, which it always was. Like, multiple things can be true at the same time, right? Like, if somebody asks you, like, why did the war of 37 or the Second World War start, like, it's not just one single reason. Like, there's reasons behind everything. Even, like, the Hitler's attack on the Jews is not like one day he suddenly realized that, oh, the Jews are our, like, the Jews are we are, like, our
Outsiders.
we it wasn't even about the idea wasn't about just about outsider. The idea was that, the Jews were controlling the system, like they were controlling the media, they were controlling the banking system. It was a lot of other reasons too. They were always hated for since like last 1,000 years. They were never
2000.
like, like more in the last thousand, but since 2,000 years also they were hated. So he wasn't creating a new idea in Germany. He just took what already existed. Hating on Jews was like, very popular throughout history. So he wasn't creating a new idea there. So what I'm trying to say is that, the Jingoism and the, like, hyper nationalism has always existed in India since independence. And there's a good reason behind it. Like, in 1947, you get independence. You are given a country which a lot of, like, international observers are trying to tell you is that, this country won't survive. Like, someone is saying won't survive 5 years. Others are claiming, the British are claiming won't survive 15. Somebody is saying 20. Like, for them it was just a matter of time before this nation state would collapse. So since day one, what the Indian state tried to do was create a very hyper nationalist idea of India, like a superficial, imaginary idea of India, of, like, this great civilization that always existed, and we are the people of this land, and all these ideas, right? So this hyper nationalism, this jingoism always existed. It's just that, with in the 90s and in the 2000, when Indians got relatively more capital, more money than they had before, they actually started believing those lies. Somebody on Twitter, like, jokingly said that, Indians and I believe she mentioned Koreans are the most jingoistic people you can find on the entire Twitter. And she's from China, and she's somebody who's not very anti-India in her post, but she's like, the most jingoist people I've seen on internet are the Indians. And she calls, like, she calls out even the Pakistan, sorry, the Chinese on her country. And she uses the same argument that, even Chinese are hyper nationalist because the same situation they came out of. That's my understanding. So it's not like, very exclusive to what the BJP is trying to do. They just have molded their, like, this hyper nationalism towards their ideology.
So you, what's occurred during this week? Don't you think all those people who were thinking that India is ready to fight a 4.5 front war with Bangladesh, their own Muslims, Kashmiris, Khalistanis, Pakistan, and beyond, are going to be very disappointed that the government did not do anything?
Let's be honest. There are, to be precise, there are only two fronts. Like, actually, there are only two, like, countries India need to worry about if it believes it can, like, have to start a war with Pakistan. The first one is Pakistan. The second one is China. I don't believe, like, Pakistan, Bangladesh is anywhere in the frame of this, like, whatever there might be, like, scenario that prevails. Also, like, any other country, I don't think Nepal is trying to invade India, or any Sri Lanka will try to invade India. These, like, even their firepower, or the terrain of that area, which India is surrounded by Bangladesh, is not very favorable for Bangladesh to attack India. It's a very muddy, uh, let's say it's
No,
not a
no,
very
But
favorable.
in
that's
that case, in that case, I mean, if you ask me ideally, nobody's attacking anyone,
Yeah,
right?
at the end of the
But
day,
we're
no
all
one
talking
is
about
actually.
it, huh?
Yeah, we were just talking about it,
no,
but
No, I'm just saying
Aditya.
that all these people, like you're talking like they're actually talking about invading India, but they're not
but
really trying to invade India, but they're like throwing it all over the place, like, oh, we're going to invade India. And
Man,
honestly, if Pakistan and India gets busy in a war, you know, uh, hypothetically, I don't think it will be really hard for the Bangladeshi or for the Baloch or the Afghan or the Sri Lankans to take what they want.
no, but
um,
my question is that what I've learned this week is that this region is extremely volatile. If India and Pakistan was to go to war, there will be huge elements in Indian Punjab which will support Pakistan. There will be elements in Pakistan, Balochistan, which will support India. There will be elements of Afghans who will infiltrate into Pakistan. There will be elements of Iran who's going to do the same. There are going to be elements within West Bengal who are going to try and sort out Bangladesh in that way, and Bangladesh will try and also acquire some fragmented land which they believe belongs to them, and that is why I don't think none of these people do have any guts to go out and do a full-fledged war. They're not going. It's too big a risk. But the question over here is not
I think
that.
even the Nagas of Nagaland are also planning something. There have been tweets about how they are also, they started preparing that if it's going to be war, we're going to take Nagaland. So, I mean, keeping in mind that India has like 17 active separatist movements going on, I think war would just make India vulnerable to all those movements.
Exactly. I was sitting in one of these spaces on X yesterday, and uh, mainly conducted by Indian right wingers. And there was this Baloch guy who turned up. And do you know what the Baloch guy basically said?
That we're going to
They asked the Baloch guy that we support you. You can become like a separate homeland, and he goes, "Yes, I'll become a separate homeland." Then they said, "Are you going to be friendly with India? And you going to leave Islam?" And he started swearing at them that they're like idol worshippers and stuff. So there I was, like sitting in a space. They were egging him on, and it kind of backfired. So I basically told them, okay, Pakistan or no Pakistan, just like Bangladesh is a prime example of this entire situation. Um, they separated from Pakistan, they did not join India, and they're still Muslims. And anytime India tries to mess up with their religion, they kind of fight back. Same would be the case for Balochistan or the Pakhtun area or the Muslim Punjab. How would that be any different?
The Pakhtuns are actually saying that, you know what, we should not get involved. I mean, by the time they are done with Punjab, it will take a very long time. So we should just relax.
No, but
But
I
I
did hear somewhere, just a second, Shah. I did hear somewhere, just a random, funny tweets on Twitter that some Afghan Pashtuns claimed that if Bangladeshis attack India and if Khalistanis are attacking India and Pakistan are attacking India, we should attack the northwestern front of Pakistan and take our Pashtun lands from Pakistan. So everybody is excited. Let's see whose all wishes come true.
You actually, you know what? There's a problem there. We don't. The thing is that it's not that I don't like Afghans. I mean, there is this saying that Pakistan mein kor do, Afghanistan mein roar de. Okay, Pakistan is my home, but Afghanistan is my brother. But the kind of regime they're having, I mean, it's not ideal for me. So I wouldn't want to go there. And I know nobody in my family would want to go there. So we're fine. We're good.
But I
In
believe you're already
totally,
like, you have completed your studies, so you shouldn't worry that much, I guess.
Yeah,
but
no, no,
Aditya,
no.
in a truly non-sensitive way, if we just look at this in a geopolitical situation, if such a situation was to ever occur, what will simply happen? Majority of Muslims in Punjab will join what is Greater Afghanistan, not just the Pakhtuns.
Mm,
Balochistan would not exist because that's what's historically happened. They will expand further into as much territory as they
India.
can gain
Yeah,
by
I think,
expanding.
yeah, I think I'm just telling you this, Aditya. Being a tribal Pashtun, they don't realize the mindset of tribal Pashtuns. I mean, they like. I mean, the normal Muslims of Pakistan, they might not see Hindu something bad, but when you go back in the tribal areas, it's not really like the last thing. Like they would rather die than have a Hindu ruler, right? And all these rulers of Afghanistan, they're all most of them are uneducated mullahs, right?
Yeah, the same.
So,
The
so
feeling is mutual.
the moment, no, so the moment Pakistan is dismantled, the next target for Afghanistan, for the Afghan government, which is Taliban, for TTP, for ISIS Khorasan, for what else? What else? There are so many. For Al Qaeda, the
Even
next
even
target is India. And then, I mean, you should be glad we're like a buffer state for you guys, because
exactly, we're
the moment
definitely a
we
buffer
have,
for India.
yeah, India will face out the music.
Because,
No, but
like Aditya, I'll tell you, 9 out of 10 Pakistanis would rather. You have to understand, in the rural areas of Punjab and Sindh as well, it's run by Maulanas and religious people, right? They would not want to go. They would choose their Pakhtun government. They don't care. You ask a Pakistani right now, are you a Muslim first or are you a Pakistani first? 9 out of 10 of them, even non-practicing ones, will say Pakistan to baad mein aata hai. We're Muslims first.
no, but I agree. I also wanted to add something that, if I have to choose between like, being invaded by Bangladeshis or being invaded by Pakistanis, I would rather choose being invaded by Pakistanis, to be very honest with you. Like,
Yeah, because you have a slave mentality. I know. We all know this.
No,
if
but
if
but,
if I
but
get to know that,
Aditya,
we are being
Aditya,
invaded by
let me tell
That's
you.
Bangladeshis,
okay.
and
That's okay.
Bangladeshis have taken over, I would rather jump off a like building
Yeah.
before I would agree to live under
Yeah, but we would
Bangladeshis
Why?
rather
rule.
die. Muslims would rather die than live under Hindu rule, like
Mm.
Mahan said. And this is a fact, actually. This is a huge fact. This is why we say things like Indian Muslims are occupied. they're, they're under, like, obviously Indian or Hindu rule or Hindu Raj, even though it's a secular country.
And if such a war was to break out, I think the most dangerous situation would be for India, because they've got 250,000 Muslims within them. How many of them, even if they're a minority, would side by Bangladesh and Pakistan?
Yeah.
We
You know,
even have more
Shah, I
Bangladeshi
literally
Muslims living
saw.
in India.
Hold on 1 second. I just saw a video the other day. I think yesterday, Pakistani, Bangladeshi, and Palestinian flag was on the floor of some Indian university, and the Indian Muslims were refusing to stand on the flags, right? And then the Indian Hindus or like so-called nationalists, or what do you call them, Sanghis, they were like, "Oh, look how nationalistic these Indian Muslims are, refusing to stand on the flag of Pakistan, Bangladesh." So you just need to understand that flags and countries obviously exist, but religion usually comes first for anything or anyone.
For
And honestly,
majority.
Yeah,
I don't get it. I mean, so what? It's a flag. I mean, even
yeah.
Indian Muslims should just go step on it. It doesn't really matter.
But it's
I mean,
also
how
an
was it?
Islamic symbol, right? Like,
It's
it's not
No,
not.
it's
just
not.
about
No, it's
Pakistan.
Not.
not.
It's not
There's
just
no
about
Islamic symbol on
Pakistan.
any
It's
of the
not.
flags.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah,
care
but
if we
a
stand
lot of
on the.
Muslims do consider that as a Muslim symbol. Let's be honest.
Apart from Iraq's flag, which has Allahu Akbar on it, and Saudi Arabia's flag, which has the kalama on it, none of the flags of the Islamic world are religious.
I think Iran also have the.
Oh yeah,
It has
Iran
Allah on
also.
it as well. Yeah,
Yeah, Iran also.
yeah. So
So
it's not a big
But
deal for us.
I could never believe that Bangladesh she's would invade us.
so there's a huge theory out, Aditya. I think you should have a comment on that. So Gaurav Arya, Sanjay Dixit, Andolan, Neeraj, our clubhouse and ex-friends, some YouTube friends, have basically come out with a theory that uh, India was ready to go and like mess up Pakistan and Bangladesh in one go, as well as Kashmiris and Khalistanis and
When?
Muslims. But they decided that this is what China wants. This is what America wants India to do: fight China. China is creating that situation. First, they tried to make us fight with Bangladesh by regime change. We didn't fall for that. Now they're doing that in Pakistan. We're not going to fall for that. So my question is, if nobody's going to fall for anything,
Yeah, they're
then
trying to
what was
blame China for
uh,
it. Yes.
I
So,
think
okay,
so.
so
I
they
want to
think
show you guys
everything
something
everything was
else.
created for Indian. Like they think everything exists to
No,
somehow
Noor,
dismantle
you know what do
India.
I believe? I believe
It's
that the
their
only
personal
way,
Yehudi sazish.
no,
Yeah.
the Noor, I believe the only way Bangladeshis can invade India is by legally entering India and like
Okay. Okay.
I want
I
to show you
don't.
guys something. This is a game by Akshay Kumar, and he also made a tweet about it. I can share it here. It's in my phone, so I'll just read it for you. The tweet goes something like Fauj, F-A-U-G, Fauj, domination is live and Bharat is ready for war. This isn't just a game, it's India's answer. Built with Make in India pride. Bigger map, bolder mission, we play to dominate. So, there are
Oh,
people who are actually using it to make money. I'm not against it. It's a good strategy, but this is India's answer. Aditya, want to speak about it?
No, I believe that, war is a
that's
very
messed up.
expensive game. It's a very expensive game. We would rather make movies on it and win our awards in the movies. It's much cheaper.
There is a movie coming of about Abhinandan, some unreal films. Should we play
That's
the trailer here? Let's
I
see.
believe that's a
Yeah.
fake poster, but yeah, it could be there could be a movie for sure, but the one I saw was fake.
Aditya, why do Indians consider Abhinandan to be a hero?
Jingoism, nationalism again.
No, but what's heroic what he did? I think
uh,
it was very respectful. He basically came in. I don't think he's a coward. And
yeah,
he went,
exactly that.
yeah,
Exactly that.
but that
He
doesn't
was
really
chasing
make
a
him
plane.
heroic, does it?
He was chasing a 21st century plane with a medieval plane when he entered
Are
the
you sure
Pakistani
you're into
airspace.
cussing your own plane?
Those were Soviet era plane that he was using. We popularly in India we call these planes as the flying coffins. It's not a term I have popularized, but it already exists. You can Google the flying coffins and the Abhinandan's plane will appear on your screen. Just Google the flying coffin. It's the Soviet era, planes that India is the MiG planes that India is still using. So it's not even a real
Man,
plane, to be
there
honest.
are a bunch of memes. I think we should share some of them as well, which came as part of Jingoism. With you
No, it's
guys.
it's like a cat trying to chase a tiger. The technology is that different from each other.
Aditya, I
Mm.
want to
That's
show
why
you the trailer. Aditya, I want to
I
show
believe
you
it's not real.
I want to show you the
But
Abhinandan
yeah, you can
trailer.
play it. But I don't believe it's real. But yeah,
Let's
please
see.
sure play
It's
it.
an unreal. There's a There's Abhinandan trailer, Amir Khan, Abhinandan, India versus Pakistan. Let's see.
It's fake.
जब दुश्मन ने हमारी सरहदें लांघी तो एक नाम गूंजा,
Punjab, Geo Studios.
वो नाम जिसने सिर्फ दुश्मन के प्लेन को नहीं बल्कि पूरे देश के दिल को छू लिया।
Khan
Zabardast.
is there.
मुझे अपने देश के जवानों पर भरोसा है
I don't know. I can hear it.
और इस
Is that a sasta version of Narendra Modi?
कैद में था मगर झुका नहीं, टूटा नहीं।
Actually, yeah.
अपने वतन वापसी का।
So I guess that's enough. So what do you think, Aditya? I don't think it's fake. I think it's very
That's
real.
a fake trailer. It's 100% fake. It's 100% fake.
You just,
like
you
edited,
just
they
can't
have used
accept it
clips
that it
from-
can be so unreal.
No,
Man.
but I've seen the trailer before and it's fake. Even I
Uh,
was surprised that
Aditya,
Amir Khan would
तुमने-
never act in such a movie.
तुमने सिखों का खालिस्तानियों का presentation देखा? Have you seen how they've presented themselves?
Their ideas are
There is this
even, like, you know-
Khalistani leader in Canada. There is this Aditya. There is this Khalistani leader in Canada who's giving like 1 million or 11 million. I'm not sure, to any Sikh who gives
11 million.
army Indian
Pannu.
army movement information. Yeah.
No, their ideas are even wilder than the Bangladeshis, so I'm not surprised.
What do you mean wilder than the Bangladeshis? Bangladesh is a country already.
They are, but as a group, I am talking about, like, you know, as a group, like, you know, the dreams, the imaginations they can, like, you know, reach is very, very funny.
Aditya, you just can't believe all these people are against
What are you
you.
talking about?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Indians were literally handcuffed by America, like I think a month ago. Literally hands and feet in handcuffs, chained with literal chains, put on a plane and deported back to Amritsar. How come no Indian actually spoke up against that? Not even one
No,
Indian.
it was a proud movement for us.
It was a proud
was
movement,
pride.
right? Okay. Well, this
You know
is
why?
the prideness
why?
of India, right? This is the
You know
Okat.
why?
Is that the word Okat?
No, that's not Okat. It's not about
Yeah.
Okat. It's about, like, you know, how, like you know, how they believe that Indians are so strong that, you know, they can break away from their, like, you know, jail and everything, even from their plane. They must have seen our Bollywood movies, and they believe that, you know, these guys can escape even, like, you know, their prisons, so they had to chain Indians.
Yeah, and just not too long ago, even in Qatar, like 8 or 9 Indian army personnel were put on death row by the king of Qatar.
And that was
but-
just out of
but-
jealousy, not
out
because
of it.
they were
Okay,
actually
okay.
spies.
So Indians are doing so many things in different countries. You're becoming spies, and what did Modi say that, oh, we're gonna go and hunt these terrorists wherever in the world? Is he like the prime minister of the whole universe or something?
Aditya, I have a question. Recently, there was an Indian spy caught in America, and then there was that Canada fiasco. You know, what do you think? How do you think that will affect Indian image in the West? Do you think people believe?
if you
people
go to
believe that you guys been doing stuff in Balochistan?
if you go to Instagram and if you go to Twitter, I don't think we have a lot of image to be left to be saved.
Yeah, Aditya, I have to tell you something, bro. But I think Indian authorities got scared of the Sikhs. That's why they didn't attack Pakistan. This is not my statement. This is Pannu's statement today. And they're not going to dare do it. So he's assured us, ye dekho unhone kya kiya. ठीक है, you have to watch this, man. ठीक है, let's bring it there. We're all there. So I would like all of you to comment on this. There we go. This was in London. I've never heard ISI being chaired even in Pakistan like this. अच्छा अब आगे देखना होगा. Of the Indian like now this is in Canada and Australia. The great they're out there with passion, man. They're taking
ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦਾ ਨਿਊਕਲੀਅਰ ਪਾਵਰ ਚੁੱਕ ਜਾਏਗਾ ਝੰਡਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਥੱਲੇ ਪਿਆ ਹੈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੇਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਖਾਲਿਸਤਾਨ ਜਿੰਦਾਬਾਦ ਖਾਲਿਸਤਾਨ ਜਿੰਦਾਬਾਦ ਖਾਲਿਸਤਾਨ ਜਿੰਦਾਬਾਦ ਜਿੰਦਾਬਾਦ ਜਿੰਦਾਬਾਦ
now that's velvet. Man, look at that. Order. Just think of that. They just bought that entire deep there.
Let me turn off the music of this video.
The music is dope.
Yeah, I know, but like turn it off so that we can hear. Aditya, we've already got control of your warrior class. Now, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I just believe that after this surprise attack by the Khalistanis and the Pakistanis, I believe it will be very hard to even fight them back. The only people I believe we can fight back is the Bangladeshis. So we should concentrate.
I think you need to stop trolling, man.
Aditya, we've almost already taken over the Punjab area, thanks to the Khalistanis.
I believe the only remaining subordinate people we can fight back are the Bangladeshis. So
No,
we should
you
focus there,
can't fight back the Bangladeshis either because they threw your very influenced prime minister out, and she's like crying in India
and you
right
can't
now.
find Aditya. You can't find Bangladeshi. Like you're talking about people who have always been at the forefront of every revolution, from revolting against the British Empire, from revolting against Pakistan, from revolting against Sheikh Hasina. Those people, once they want something, they get it. So you cannot fight them. And secondly, isn't it ironic that this session was about Jingoism and we started it?
Yeah, exactly. Exhibit.
Oh my God! Oh shit! I didn't realize that. We are sounding exactly like them. You shouldn't have. I'm so sorry, Noor. I did not mean.
Yeah, what I really don't understand is that after a week and a half of Indians saying they're going to smash this, they're going to smash that, making fun of Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, their own Muslims, nothing happened. Kuch hua hi nahi. Nothing happened.
Remember, we told you that we'll surprise you. This is a surprise.
It's a surprise.
The surprise was to block all of our celebrities' Instagram accounts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Why? There are people who are actually asking people for money to sell them episodes of Pakistani dramas and pictures of Hania Amir.
Pictures of Hania Amir?
Yeah, they say, give us this much money and we'll send you pictures of Hania Amir regularly.
I believe, for the very first time, I had to use a VPN to access, Instagram profile of Anya.
Now you know our pain. Aditya,
Yeah.
now you know our pain when we use Twitter.
Yeah, do you remember that guy called, यार उसका नाम ही भूल गया है, उमेश को मैंने कहा था, and he's messaging me, उसने मुझे कहा था कि I have to prove that I'm not an ISI agent, so I have to give him a proof right now. तो मैं proof देने लगा हूँ कि I'm actually not an ISI agent. So here's my proof. Umesh, you watching? आ गया उसका टेक्स्ट।
he also called me an ISI agent as well.
या तो
Very
मैं
funny.
प्रूफ देने लगा हूँ 2 सेकंड के अंदर कि आई एम नॉट एन आईएसआई एजेंट। I've got a video to prove it. आप लोग बात करते रहें, मैं उसको भी लेके आ रहा हूँ। आज ये वाली जिंगोइज्म भी खत्म कर देते हैं।
Noor, I wanted to ask, like, are Bangladeshis watching Pakistani TV serials?
No, I don't think
Nah,
so.
not really. Yeah,
We
because
don't understand the language.
they're not in
The
Bengali.
Yeah, we don't know the language. I mean, I understand, but I don't
But I
really.
learned that a lot of Bangladeshis now understand and speak, like, Urdu very fluently.
Yeah, we understand, but it doesn't. It's not. I don't know. Like we would
Okay,
rather know.
guys.
So
So
ultimately, if you had to,
hold
like,
on.
bow down to their language superiority, then why on the first place oppose it?
Look, we don't have a problem with the Urdu language. Actually, the issue is when you're forced to do something, you're gonna rebel against that. And that's with any culture, even in America. I
Just,
mean,
just, just show beautiful, pretty people speaking it, and you would eventually learn it, right?
yeah, we're not
Wow.
like you Indians. We're not like you Indians.
Yeah.
This is the caste system speaking, guys. This is how the caste system works. It's something called self-respect, and I hope Indians have that.
I believe we
Really?
have too much of it. That is the problem.
Yeah, so I'm not an ISI agent. I've proved it now.
Yeah, there's this one more thing that I wanted to talk to
Let
you.
me prove it again. So Umesh, see, I'm not an ISI agent.
Doesn't look like ISI at all.
Not at all.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a fake.
Where did everyone else? Acha, Aditya, there is this show in India. It's off topic a little bit, but I still want to discuss it. There's this show in India where they were discussing Kama Sutra, and well, you know what they were talking about and what they were doing, like young men and women. And this right winger, Mr. Sinha, he goes something like, "What is this? It's ruining our children and should not be shown on the TV." So I was wondering that when it comes to like sexual morality, it's more like a Muslim thing, more Abrahamic thing, right? But when it comes to Hinduism, you have a religious book called Kama Sutra, and you
It's
guys
not a
generally
religious book.
no, but they were
It
they were
is a
generally
spiritual
not big
book, yeah.
on they were generally not big on sexual morality and stuff, like they did
So
not
there's
care
an
about
issue with
clothing
that
and stuff.
show you're talking
Let me
about.
just complete first.
Hmm.
So why matlab, all these right wingers were so angry at the show, which makes no sense because they're literally trying to apply Muslim morality on
Yeah,
Hindus.
there's a reason that show is being held by a Muslim guy.
No, but that's not the problem. They have a problem with what is happening in it. They have a problem with the portrayal of
So,
that whole thing. They're saying
what I
Besharmi band karo. That makes
Yeah,
no
see,
sense.
what's the name of that dude? वो कौन है वो अजीब सा आदमी who used to come on? I don't even remember his name. He's hosting it.
So let me tell you, like,
Ejaz
to
Khan. Ejaz Khan.
Ijaz.
the reality of, like, hypersexualization of, like, these deities, and, like, the paintings on the temples, and sculptures on these temples. So the conservative side of Hinduism has always existed, but in brief periods, more ideas which were very kind of, you can say, liberal in their understanding of religion has always, like, thrived in this society. Even, like, take example of, I'm not calling these ideas liberal, but contrary ideas has always tried to challenge the mainstream. For example, Buddhism, Jainism, like the Bhakti movement, all these traditions were ideas which were rebelling against the norm, right? The norm was, like, these caste ridden, very, like, hierarchical system, which was, like, very against, like, sexualization of women, or, like, hypersexualization, all these things. But in, like, small portions where they got the space, these ideas also thrived. So, like, last 3,500 years of Indian history was never these paintings and the Kama Sutras. But in brief periods, these ideas also thrived. Doesn't mean it's the most popular culture of India. That's how I can tell you,
No, but
you
this
can
is
understand
pure
it.
Sanatan Dharma. This is like the pure version.
There is no Sanatan Dharma. The only Sanatan Dharma is are the Vedas,
Aditya,
which
but
nobody follows.
Aditya, tell me honestly, you don't think that the whole morality thing came from the Muslims coming to subcontinent? Because honestly, you do have culture of where there was this breast tax on covering breasts
I
and
was in
other
Kerala.
other such rituals where conservative doesn't exactly mean conservative about clothes and sexuality. It can be like you're not open to I mean, for different communities conservative mean a different thing, right? So maybe Aditya, the Indian conservative, I don't, honestly speaking, when I see Hinduism, I see Kama Sutra and all these colors and no real restriction or sexuality and stuff, because well, much of what I've read, it's mostly like that. There is no such restriction on it.
No, you're
Vedas are very
absolutely wrong.
conservative, though. I would like to pitch
Exactly.
in the Vedas are very, very conservative. They
Yeah, but
don't.
Vedas also talks about strict, caste system, or how what you
The
get your
caste
caste.
system's not even
No,
mentioned
no,
in
no,
the
no.
Vedas.
Caste
Give me a second.
system,
Caste system, according to Vedas, the caste system is made through your profession. For example, if you're a businessman, you're a Vaishya, and if you're a warrior, you're a Kshatriya. It does not have to do with lineage, but Hinduism have made it through the lineage. So I don't think present day Hinduism have much to do with Vedas. But then, okay, fine, all that is right. But then you get things like Kama Sutra.
yeah, but these are brief periods in Indian history where alternate theories have thrived, or you can say these ideas have tried to make a presence, just like Buddhism. At the time, Buddhism was super popular in India,
Aditya, then there is this
but
Jain puja where the Jain pandits are completely naked.
yeah, but that's not because of somehow trying to
I'm not even kidding.
show their body.
I
It's the
know Naga
opposite.
sadhus are naked as well. So are Aghoris, man.
Yeah,
No,
Naga sadhus are
but
naked
our
as well.
conservatism is a little different. My ideas are
Aditya, do you know that
about
before
caste
the British
system.
Empire, the Indian sari did not even have a blouse?
That I know, but doesn't mean it never used to cover the breast.
Well, there
It
was
was
these
in
women
Kerala.
who used to get breast tax
No,
because of
no,
covering
In
breast.
Kerala, in
Maham,
Kerala,
Maham.
only existed in Kerala.
I went on Hajj like a few years ago, and I saw people coming from Africa, and their women were dressed very differently to how we might perceive Muslim women to be dressed. They were in hijab,
Oh,
but
that
they
I understand that there are Muslim countries where drinking alcohol is okay, but Islam doesn't allow it. That's I'm
no,
not
no.
saying that.
So,
That's a
well,
culture, and what I'm pointing out to you that you saw them and you know that that was part of their culture. That's the thing that I'm pointing out to you,
so
that
do
it
you
might
think that
not have
show
anything
should
to do
be
with
allowed?
Vedas.
No, that's fine, but do you think that show should be allowed?
What show should be allowed?
Where you started this conversation from.
I just
Hijaz
don't.
lunch.
Honestly, I'm kind of confused that why should you be upset at someone trying
I
out Kama
think the
Sutra
reason why
when you're a
Sina and a lot
Hindu?
of so there are a lot of things which are making people a bit insecure about that particular show. Firstly, it's being held by a very cheap guy. On top of that, it's being
I
the
mean, let's be real.
contestants.
Whoever participate and host and produce that show must be cheap.
Mm. But on top of that, he carries a Muslim name, and the
I,
bigger problematic issue is that they're basically inviting different. If you look at Kama Sutra, it's basically talking about relationships. It's not just about sex. But what this show is doing, it's just bringing different people in, different youngsters in, and it's asking them to perform certain actions.
Yeah, but then hear me out. Then you get Bollywood, and Bollywood. I mean, just look at all the item songs, right? And all the stuff that is going on in the Bollywood. The Bollywood of the 2000 is very different from the Bollywood of today.
Yeah, but
And
a
and
difference
then they
between a
have these
reality.
programs called Big Boss and Splitsville, who have a lot of very good stuff.
We're slightly going off the topic as well, but the thing is, majority of people would have an issue with
I guess,
such a reality show because
yeah, I guess it's
they
been 1 hour, so we're going
no
to get
because there would be a chance. Let me finish. There might be a chance that somebody's child or somebody's sister, somebody's brother might end up on the show, right?
Even I have a point to make, very interesting. 2 points actually. The first one is I agree with Maham that Hindus more recently now has been trying to learn a lot from the Muslim ideas, which they believe are superior. Uh,
They
Again,
believe that they're superior.
Like
yes, they
what?
do.
Like, give me ideas.
Like
I mean,
the ideas of Muslim Ummah somehow try to replicate it into the Hindu society, and trying to we are also trying to learn from the Western conservative ideas, and even they have been even trying to do it in the 18th century when where Raja Ram Mohan Roy even tried to try to make Hinduism into a monotheist kind of ideology, and try to bring in a lot of reforms which were closer to the the Middle Eastern kind of Abrahamic faiths. Try to
he was just
like
civilized because he was in the vicinity of Muslims. So just say that. It's normal. It's fine.
yeah, specifically the Bangladeshis, the most smartest
he, he
Muslims.
was where was he from? Let's start there.
I got it. He was from the great lands of the Bengalis.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Aditya, it's because of the Bengalis you're free today from the British Empire. If it
No,
wasn't for the Bengali
Really?
Muslim mutiny, none of it would
no,
have
no,
happened.
not only that, the biggest dent in India's India being fragmented, Pakistan being born, is caused by the Bangladeshis. If it wasn't for Bangladeshis, there would be no Pakistan.
Another point, yeah, we got it. But another point I wanted to mention is that even before the modern times, Hindus were influenced by the Muslims, and some of their ideas they believed were superior. Let me give you another example from my state of Rajasthan. The ideas of parda was not very popular in in India. Parda was introduced by the Muslims in India, specifically the northwestern region, places like Rajasthan, Haryana, and all these places, which are still predominantly Hindu. So these ideas were considered superior. Women covering their faces and their heads was considered some kind of elite ideas, where they're these are superior women who cover their heads. Same was in Kerala, where you spoke about the breast tax. It was the same idea. The free women never used to cover their breast, but the elites, when the the blouse and all these things were introduced in the subcontinent, specifically in the South India, only the upper caste Hindu women coming from the elite class was allowed to cover their breast. It wasn't because somehow covering your breast was considered superior, but it was the new thing which the elite was doing. It's
Aditya,
not
another
because
thing. Usually, when Hindu women, even in movies and dramas, I've seen it. Hindu women, when they enter a mandir, they wear their pallu or dupatta on their head. Why do they do that? Is it like a compulsory thing?
covering her head, yeah, not compulsory, but women do it. I don't know if what's the historical relevance with it, but yeah, women do cover their heads,
All the time, like
especially
all
if
of the
you're
women
wearing
do
a
that when they go to mandir.
No, if you're wearing a traditional suit, or you're wearing a sari, you cover your head. But like the younger girls, when they go to temples, they don't.
I don't know. Kind of sounds like we gave you that as well, but it's okay. Anyway, final statements, guys. I think it's been 1 hour, so it's time to go. It was a fun discussion. I guess we should start having such fun discussions again. Shaji?
Yeah, the final quick statement I want to make is that the only thing that is keeping me awake at nights is the fear of attack from Bangladesh. That's all.
Man, I have to play a
It
video
took a long
before.
time to reach you, Aditya. We're in Rajasthan.
Yeah, we're from the
I
desert.
my final statement is going to be a video, and I'm just setting that up. So have your final statements, and I want to show how this war is going to be fought, and I want to ask everyone, how do you rationalize this? So I'm just setting that video up. You guys carry on for a few moments.
Go on, Noor. Give your final statement. What do you
Final
think about
statement, and also tell me what is the probability of Bangladesh, genuinely, interested in the Seven Sisters.
No, we have no interest in your seven sisters. But if you keep threatening us, we'll have to teach you a lesson, you know?
You have to take like 2 or 3
You
of
know
them
what?
away.
Aditya, just Google one of your Indian border guard forces. He entered into Bangladesh like 2 days ago, and he was like beaten
Yeah,
and returned.
That will
yeah.
be
I mean,
even
what's up with
Bangladeshis
these
were
BSF
surprised.
Jawans, Aditya? One went
Yeah.
into
Even
Pakistan, the
Bangladeshis were
other went into
surprised to
Bangladesh.
even
Yeah.
Bangladeshis were surprised to see Indians also tried to enter Bangladesh.
What? I have no last words.
Somebody was asking about PK Singh on Twitter today. What happened to him?
No, what happened was that they initially thought these are the Bangladeshis who entered India like a long time ago, and now they have enough money to afford to live in Bangladesh now, so they are coming back.
So we're going to do it a different way today. The final comments. I want the final comments to be on this video. This is how I see Jingoism, and I want to know why these two grown men even
Acha, this
have
was
this shit.
the most jingoistic room we could have. I didn't
जिंदाबाद पाकिस्तान मुर्दाबाद अरे कायरो खदानो तुम खदानो कायरो
Man, what happened to the video?
जिंदाबाद खालिस्तान जिंदाबाद पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद हिंदुस्तान जिंदाबाद
One more time, we have to play this again.
हिंदुस्तान जिंदाबाद पाकिस्तान मुर्दाबाद अरे कायरो खदानो तुम खदानो कायरो पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद खालिस्तान जिंदाबाद पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद हिंदुस्तान जिंदाबाद
So they say third time is lucky.
हिंदुस्तान जिंदाबाद पाकिस्तान मुर्दाबाद अरे कायरो खदानो तुम खदानो कायरो पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद खालिस्तान जिंदाबाद पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद हिंदुस्तान जिंदाबाद
Now, why does this even exist? Why do these people exist? Why do they have
Indian
these
media.
things ready?
Because Indian media exists.
The other guy is Pakistani.
Yeah, but it's happening on Indian media.
Do you know?
Bollywood is doing
I'm
so
not
bad,
supposed to
Shah.
be mentioning this, so I'm not going to say who told me this. So there was a Sikh guy recently being deported, and do you know what he requested for his human rights? Can he bring his sword, his talwar, into the courts because it's his religious right? Do you get my point? That's how ridiculous some Desi people are, Sikhs, Muslims, Hindus, whatever. Now, these people must be sitting somewhere and they're on a talk show.
Where was this request made?
In the UK.
Oh, okay, fine. That makes
Home
sense because
Office.
in the UK, most of the weapons are illegal. If it was made in the US or Canada, I would say, you know what, it should be allowed because,
Even there in the courts, it's not allowed for
yeah,
somebody
but
who's
still, they're generally
a
very
rape,
lenient
a
with
person
weapons.
who's a
It should be
rapist,
allowed.
a
Huh?
person who's a rapist.
Okay. I guess we're done for today. Thank you for listening in, guys. And it was a fun discussion. No hate
Oh,
towards
अली भाई आ
anyone.
गए हैं, अली भाई आ गए हैं।
Uh,
अली भाई आप अपना फाइनल स्टेटमेंट भी दे दें और ये देखने के बाद दें आपका इन दो भाइयों के बारे में क्या ख्याल है।
हिंदुस्तान जिंदाबाद, पाकिस्तान मुर्दाबाद, अरे ठहरो, ठहरो तुम, ठहरो, ठहरो, तेरी
पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद, खालिस्तान जिंदाबाद,
हिंदुस्तान जिंदाबाद, हिंदुस्तान जिंदाबाद।
हाँ जी अली भाई।
वाह जी वाह, अस्सलाम वालेकुम, आदाब सब, नमस्ते सब दोस्तों को। यार मैं अब वो क्लास में नलायक स्टूडेंट की तरह आया हूँ, तो आप सबको सलाम और सॉरी, मैं वाकई एज था, मैं आगे से ज़रा जल्दी आऊँगा। दूसरी शाह जी, और इसका स्टेटमेंट तो आप लोगों की होगी, मेरी लास्ट पे ही होगी क्योंकि आप विनर है, आपने इतनी मेहनत की है। इनको देख के सिर्फ एक ही चीज़ आ रही है आदित्य के लिए और महम के लिए कि ये दोनों नशे में हैं। एक को सब्सटेंस का नशा है, किसी ने सब्सटेंस का नशा किया हुआ फॉर श्योर, और उसके ऊपर एक नशा है, दूसरे को भी नशा है। वो एक को नेशनलिज्म और पेट्रियाटिज्म का नशा है और एक को नेशनलिज्म और पेट्रियाटिज्म के साथ कोई सब्सटेंस का भी नशा है। तो ये दो चीज़ें सामने खुल के आई हैं। दैट्स ऑल, पीरियड, दिस इज ऑल आई वांटेड टू से फॉर योर ऑडियंस शाह जी।
लेकिन अली भाई अब सबसे पहले तो आपको हरजाना बनना पड़ेगा, इतना लेट आने के लिए आपको अपना कैमरा करना पड़ेगा ऑन और आप ही अब बोलेंगे आखिरी और अपनी पहली कमेंट्स एंड देन वी आर गोइंग टू एंड द शो। और आपसे मैं मेन क्वेश्चन कर देता हूँ एंड आई एम ग्लैड यू आर हियर एंड दैट इज व्हाई we're just not going to get into a debate, but we're just going to ask you one simple question. आज से एक हफ्ता पहले वी सो कि इंडियन कह रहे हैं हम मार देंगे, हम चार देंगे, हम ये कर देंगे, हम वो कर देंगे। देन वी सो सबसे पहले तो उन्होंने अपने कश्मीरियों को जलील किया, फिर अपने इंडियन मुसलमानों को जलील किया, फिर उसके बाद उन्होंने पाकिस्तानियों के ऊपर सारा कुछ ब्लेम किया, फिर उन्होंने कहा हम बांग्लादेश से भी साथ ही लड़ लेंगे, फिर उन्होंने कहा अगर अफगान टेक ओवर कर लेंगे तो हम उनको भी नहीं छोड़ेंगे। ठीक है, अब सवाल यह है कि एक हफ्ते के बाद कुछ हुआ तो नहीं, उनकी गवर्नमेंट ने कुछ किया भी नहीं, कोई बात भी नहीं हुई, कुछ हुआ भी नहीं, तो अब क्या होगा? मतलब व्हाट विल हैपन? ये हजम कैसे करेंगे कि कुछ हुआ नहीं? ये बताएं।
शाह जी कैमरा ऑन करने लगा हूँ आपकी ऑडियंस के लिए, और इसका जवाब मैं दे दूं या पहले आदित्य ने देना है, किसी ने देना है? क्योंकि मेरे पास दो लाइनर्स ही हैं इसके ऊपर।
ये खाली आपने देना है, हम सब दे चुके हैं। दिस इज गोइंग टू बी द एंड ऑफ द शो एज वेल।
जी जी जी, तो मेरा पहले तो कैमरा, सर मैं माजरत से कि मैं रेडी नहीं था तो जल्दी में ऑन किया। आई होप मेरी आवाज़ क्लियर होगी, इसमें चल जाएगी राइट?
जी जी, खाली आपको लेके आएंगे आज हम कैमरा पे, आपका ही आखिरी
नहीं यार,
स्टेटमेंट
नहीं
ये
अच्छा,
लें।
मैं लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, for your for Moham's and Shaji's audience, first of all I always appreciate Shaji's and Moham's effort, great channels effort to putting a headlight, I would say, if I can, for on subcontinent. अमेजिंग क्वेश्चन शाहजी आपने पूछा। शाहजी इसके दो लाइनर्स हैं। एक ये है कि मैं इसका जवाब जितने भी मेरे दोस्तों ने पहले कहा है, ख़ास तौर पे मैं अपने पूरे सब कॉन्टिनेंट के स्पेशली इंडियन पाकिस्तानियों के लिए जवाब है। मेरा जवाब आज होगा वो इंडियन ज़बान में होगा। एक मशहूर इंडियन, बल्कि इंडिया के पहले एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर की सही है एक, पता नहीं, मेरा ख्याल है शायद वो मक्कातल मुकरमा में पैदा हुए थे, राइट, आई बिलीव दैट। जी जी। तो पहले इंडियन मिनिस्टर जो मक्कातल मुकरमा में जो पैदा हुए थे, एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर, उनकी एक सेइंग है कि ताकत कभी भी कमजोरी पे रहम नहीं करती। तो ताकत जिसकी शोर मचाया गया कि हम ये कर देंगे, वो कर देंगे, पहुंचा देंगे और ये कर देंगे, और ख़ास तौर पे एग्जैक्टली जो आपने ये दो बंदों की जो वीडियो दिखाए, उसी सेंस में कुछ डिप्लोमेट और बड़े खूबसूरत लोग, वो बड़े तमीज़ के साथ भी यही बातें कर रहे हैं, और कुछ लोग खुलखला के इस तरह की बातें कर रहे हैं। तो उनके लिए ये है कि अगर ताकत, अगर इंडिया ने पाकिस्तान पे कोई रहम करना होता, छोड़ना होता, तो आज तक वो हो चुका होता गुज़श्ता 20 साल में। वो हो इसलिए नहीं रहा, सिर्फ ताकत की वजह से कि यहाँ जो डिफेंस की ताकत है वो इतनी को कम से कम है, जो इनको वो करने नहीं दे रही। कोई वो मतलब फ़लस्तीन या वो फलानी चीज़ तो है नहीं है कि ये ले जाएं। तो सिर्फ ताकत के बैलेंस के होने की वजह से ये कुछ नहीं हो पा रहा, और ज़लालत हो रही है। मैं विदाउट बायस हो के, क्योंकि मैं पूरी कोशिश करता हूँ कि आई बिलीव आई एम ए बायस, लेकिन मैं पूरी कोशिश करता हूँ कम से कम इस टॉपिक पे मैं बायस नहीं हूँ। सिर्फ ताकत एक ऐसी चीज़ है पाकिस्तान की जिसकी वजह से ये आज तक नहीं हुआ, और ज़लालत मुकद्दर बन चुकी हुई है इस टॉपिक के ऊपर। हमारे इंडियन जो ईगोइस्टिक पेट्रियाटिज्म की ईगोइस्टिक की वजह से नेशनलिस्ट, टिपिकल नेशनलिस्ट हैं उनके लिए। तो एक तो ये जवाब हो गया, और दूसरा एक लाइनर ये हो गया, मैं रिपीट कर देता हूँ ताकि आपकी ऑडियंस याद रखे
जी जी।
कि आपके जो ये मुझे नाम भूल रहा है उनका, अद्वितीय बता देंगे मुझे, ये जो मकातल मुकरमा में एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर पहले हुए थे।
आजाद कलाम।
जी, आज़ाद कलाम साहब। तो आज़ाद कलाम साहब की सेइंग से, और दूसरा मैं एक मीम पे छोड़ने लगा हूँ, वो हम और उनके फॉलोअर्स के लिए, कि शुक्र है कि पाकिस्तान ने न्यूक्लियर बना लिया हुआ है, इसकी वजह से ही आज पाकिस्तानी अवाम मीम्स बना रही हैं, नहीं तो ये मीम्स ना बनाते, मोर्चे में होते, मोर्चे बना रहे होते। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
लेकिन लेकिन अली भाई, आपने ये तो बताया नहीं कि अगर आप इंडियन लोगों की जगह पे होते आज, आपकी गवर्नमेंट ने आपको इतना ही उकसाया होता, इतना ही बताया होता कि हम चाड़ देंगे, हम पाड़ देंगे, हम छा गए हैं, हम फाड़ देंगे, हमने हद कर दी, हम विश्व गुरु हैं, और उसके बाद अंदर से हवा निकले तो क्या करेंगे आप क्या करते, आपकी क्या सोच होती, आपकी क्या कैफियत होती, आपके क्या अरमान होते, आपके क्या जज्बात होते, ये बताएं।
सर वो जज्बात तो बदल गए ना। ठीक है, ठीक है। अच्छा, गुजारिश ये है कि मैं अगर उस तरह अपने भाइयों की तरह आता, तो वहाँ बड़े ही सेंसिबल और बड़े ही ज़बरदस्त किस्म के लोग हैं जिनसे मैं इंस्पायर हूँ पर्सनली, और मैं उनकी तरह होता, मैं आदित्य की तरह होता। मैं मिसाल के तौर पे बनर्जी नाम है शायद उनका, वो देशभक्त या देश इस तरह करके कोई वो यूट्यूब चैनल चलाते हैं, मुझे नहीं पता उनका वो नाम, मुझे भूल गया, शायद कोई मुझे करेक्ट कर दे यहाँ, आदित्य
आकाश
इस तरह।
बनर्जी।
जी, इस तरह के नाम है कुछ उनका, बनारजी करके, लगते नहीं है वो वहाँ के, लेकिन मेरा ख्याल शायद बंगाल के हैं। बड़ी बड़ी अच्छी हिंदी उर्दू बोलते हैं वो। तो इस तरह के बड़े बेशुमार लोग हैं। वो हमारे बड़े अच्छे जो शनि या इस तरह कुछ करके नाम है, डिफेंस एनालिस्ट हैं वो। उनको मैं बहुत फॉलो करता हूँ, फोर्स वाले, वो क्या नाम है उनका, आदित्य? फोर्स
गौरव आर्य।
मैगजीन में। नहीं
कौन सी
नहीं नहीं नहीं
मैगजीन?
नहीं नहीं नहीं, गौरव आर्या तो वो अपोजिट हो गए ना। वो जो फोर्स का वो एनालिस्ट है, फोर्स FORCE मैगजीन, वो बड़े ही सोबर किस्म के हैं, और बड़ी अच्छी सब कॉन्टिनेंट के ऊपर उनकी ग्रिप है। डिफेंस एनालिस्ट हैं
नहीं
बड़े
आइडिया,
मशहूर।
मैंने देखता हूँ।
FORCE, फोर्स मैगजीन के वो नाम से वो करते हैं। आपको पता है उनका, यानी आपकी ऑडियंस को पता है, तो नाम मुझे दे दें उनका अगर किसी को पता लगता है। इस तरह के बड़े ज़बरदस्त, सोबर और समझदार राजीव साहब हैं, वो जो जर्नलिस्ट हैं, ये लोग बड़े आपको इंस्पायर करते हैं। आप इनको धोखा नहीं दे पाते। हमारे जैसे लोग भी और ख़ास तौर पे ये जो 2 लोगों की वीडियो दिखाई है, इस तरह के लोग, वो गोरिया जैसे लोग, इन लोगों को तो धोखा नहीं दे पाते, वो पाकिस्तानी भी उनको धोखा नहीं दे पाते। तो देखें इस तरह के करैक्टर हैं, तो शायद मैं उस तरह का करैक्टर होता। ये जो हमारे दोस्तों को जो बदनामी का बायस बन रहे हैं, जिनकी वीडियो दिखाई है, बद अखलाकी और घटियापन कर रहे हैं, और इक्वली पाकिस्तानी भी वो इस तरह कर रहे हैं। क्या वो अपने घर में इस तरह के वो इशारे करते हैं? तो ये यार, मैं आई होप आई एड्रेस। शाह जी, आपने पेशेंटली सुना, आप मेरे
आपने
मुझे
बिल्कुल
मुझे
ठीक
फीडबैक
कहा
दें
है।
मेरी
और
कन्वर्सेशन पे।
देखें, इस तरह के लोग जो इस तरह की जगह पे अपने जज्बात पे काबू नहीं पा सकते, उन सबको शर्मिंदगी के अलावा कुछ नहीं होगा। एक कहावत है आपकी पंजाबी के अंदर ही, ये मैं आज दे रहा हूँ आपको, देख लें। नॉन पंजाबी बंदा आपको पंजाबी कहावत देने लगा, ठीक है? देख से ज्यादा चमचा गरम, ठीक है?
वाह जी वाह, वाह जी वाह, वाह जी वाह। वो इसकी पंजाबी में ये भी है, ये जो 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 फॉर्मल है, आपने आपने ज्यादा अच्छी कही है, मेरी ज्यादा अच्छी नहीं होगी, लेकिन जो फॉर्मल है वो ये है, शाह से ज्यादा शाह के वफादार। आपने सही फरमाया।
नहीं, देखें, मेरे तो वफादार मुझे पसंद आएंगे।
और सर, आपकी नहीं, आप वाले शाह नहीं, वो बादशाह वाले शाह की बात हो रही है।
हमारे यहाँ भी अली भाई एक कहावत है, इतनी बात चली गई है कि वो रस्सी जल गई पर बल नहीं गया वाली एक ऐसी भी कहावत है।
तुम लोग को मैं
और
मैं
अली
एक
भाई,
मजे की बात
एक्सीलेंट।
बताऊं। जब वो पुलवामा अटैक हुआ था ना, तो उस पे जो उस वक्त वहाँ का जो स्टेट का हेड था, जो भी था, उससे इंटरव्यू दी थी कि कैसे जो है अमित शाह और मोदी जी ने उनको स्टेट लैप्सेस की इंफॉर्मेशन जो है उसको ना बताने का बोला था, कि इसको पब्लिक ना करो, पुलवामा वाला है। उस बंदे ने वीडियो उसकी पूरी पड़ी हुई है। एंड शाह जी, आपको पता है वो अमित शाह को कैसे एड्रेस कर रहा था वो बंदा? कहते
कैसे?
हैं, शाह जी की तो हम बड़ी इज्जत करते हैं। तो मैं शाह जी को कुछ कहा नहीं मैंने।
नहीं, वो तो कर रहा होगा। तो लेकिन लेकिन बात ये है कि ये जो गुजराती शाह होते हैं ना, ये भी अपनी हेरिटेज जो है, ये पारसियों के पास लेके जाते हैं, मुसलमानों के पास नहीं,
ये
लेकिन
सच है।
पारसियों के पास
हाँ,
लेके जाते हैं। तो इनको भी
सच है।
पूछना चाहिए अमित शाह को, आप कौन सी संस्कृति की बात करते हैं? आप तो हमारे पुरखों के अंदर से हैं, आप तो ज़ोरोएस्ट्रियन इरेनियन थे। तो जहाँ तक बात है वो दूसरे बंदे की,
वो
आपको
क्लेम कर
पता
देंगे कि पहले इरानियन भी हिंदू थे, तो क्या
हाँ,
कर लोगे?
वो कहेंगे वो पूरी
हाँ,
दुनिया ही
ये
हिंदू।
भी
देखें देखें, मैं आपकी ऑडियंस के लिए एक चीज अर्ज कर देता हूँ
हिंदू है, बस
कि
किसी को पता नहीं है।
देखिए शाह जी, मैं मुझे ये मेरे दिल के बहुत करीब है। ये जो शाह का वर्ड आपने कहा है, आप लोग जानते ही हैं। पहले उस शाह के हवाले से भी और दूसरे शाह के हवाले से भी, सबसे पहले तो ये शाह आमतौर पे पाकिस्तान और सब कॉन्टिनेंट में, प्रिसाइजली हमारे पंजाब वर्ल्ड में, शाह ज़्यादातर और मतलब बाय फार ब्रॉडली तो आका सरकार और हुजूर के औलाद के मुतलका या उस ग्रुप के मुतलका ही कहा जाता है। तो वो ही तो है हमारे सर के ताज, ठीक है, असल असल। तो उस हवाले से, लेकिन दूसरे हवाले से आपकी ऑडियंस के लिए दूसरी बात की है, जो मैंने क्यों वहाँ इंटरप्ट किया है और शाह जी ये शाह वर्ड पे बात करनी है, अमित शाह से जो बात हुई है। देखिए, हम हम्बली, हैप्पीली, प्राउडली की रेंज में, प्राउडली वर्ड नहीं लेकिन उसी रेंज में, बड़ी खुशी से, बड़े इत्मीनान से हम ये कह सकते हैं कि हमारे जो बड़े हिंदू थे, वो हमारे बुजुर्गवार, तो हमारे लिए वो भी बड़े फ़ख्र का बाइस थे, जो जो उन्होंने कुर्बानियाँ इस ज़मीन के लिए दी हैं। तो उनका जो नाम था, मैं अपने बड़ों की बात करने लगा हूँ, तो हमारे जो वो बड़े थे, उनके साथ शाह लगता था मुसलमान होने से पहले। तो मिसाल के तौर पे सब कॉन्टिनेंट के हज़ारों, लाखों के करीब, लाखों नहीं तो हज़ारों जनरेशन्स के नाम बता रहा हूँ। उनमें से कितने ट्राइब्स थे जो हमारे ग्रुप के ट्राइब्स में से थे, तो उनका नाम लाहौरी शाह था। तो फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर वो मुसलमान हो गए तो उन्होंने अल्लाह रख लिया। तो शाह एक तो पारसी कॉन्टेक्स्ट में भी आता है, एक शाह ये रूलिंग क्लास के लिए भी टाइटल लगा लिया गया हुआ था। हिंदू हमारे मतलब बड़ों ने, हमारे बहन भाइयों ने उस टाइम, या आज भी लगाते हैं। तो इस सिर्फ पारसी होने की वजह से ये टाइटल नहीं है। ये टाइटल एज ए, जैसे खान, सारे पठान सिर्फ खान नहीं लगाते, खान टाइटल के तौर पे भी इस्तेमाल होता है, यहाँ तक कि भट्टी भी टाइटल के तौर पे इस्तेमाल होता है, और
राजपूत
इस
भी
तरह
यूज
के
करते हैं।
शेख भी टाइटल के
हाँ।
तौर पे इस्तेमाल होता है। जी मैं कर दिए मैम, आप बताइए, फरमाइए।
नहीं, पता है क्या अली भाई, आपकी
नहीं,
बात
मैं कह रही
बिल्कुल
हूँ
सही है।
राजपूत भी जिन्होंने इस्लाम कबूल किया है, जिन राजपूतों ने, उन्होंने भी अपने नाम खान या खानजादा रखे हैं। राजपूत से खानजादा
हम्म।
और या फिर खान
जी वो
करके।
टाइटल के तौर पे है, वो सिर्फ
और
टाइटल के
और
तौर पे है।
एक
खान
और
का
बात
जवाब है।
है, ये लोगों को बड़ी इस बात की कंफ्यूजन होती है। पंजाब के अंदर भी मैनी पीपल हैव फारसी बैकग्राउंड, क्योंकि ईरान के साथ हमेशा से बॉर्डर लगता है, कभी चेंज तो हो नहीं सकता। एक अफगानिस्तान के साथ लगता है, चेंज तो हो नहीं सकता। तो पंजाबीज हैव बीन ऑन अ कॉरिडोर, इट्स अ मेल्टिंग पॉट। तो एक ये बात, दूसरा ये कि जिनकी आप बात कर रहे हैं, देखें इस चीज़ की भी बड़ी कन्फ्यूजन है, और ये आजकल ये रिटोरिक अब बाहर आने वाला है, एंड इसके ऊपर अली भाई हम बात भी करेंगे। ये बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट सब्जेक्ट है
जी
आज के
काइंडली शाह
टाइम
जी, इसके ऊपर एक बैठक रखें आप, इसके ऊपर
पे।
बात होगी। दूसरी बात, आपकी एक बात से मैं डिसएग्री 100% करना चाह रहा हूँ। आपने मतलब हम्बली ये बात की है, आपकी ऑडियंस अप्रिशिएट करेगी, मैं उससे डिसएग्री करता हूँ। आप तो पंजाबी बंदे ही हैं सर, आप पंजाबी प्रैक्टिस कम करते हैं, लेकिन आप तो पंजाबी ही हैं, 100% पंजाबी हैं। मेरे में आगे पीछे हो सकती है पंजाबी, आपकी तो कहीं भी, आप तो कहीं से भी नॉन पंजाबी नहीं है।
शाह तो
कैसे?
लगता भी पूरा पंजाबी है वैसे। शाह
यार
जैसा लगता भी नहीं है।
शादी हो गई है।
वो स्मार्टनेस की वजह से लग रहे होंगे,
नहीं
ऐसी
नहीं,
बात है।
शाहजी, अली भाई, आप गलत कह रहे हैं। शाहजी मैक्सिकन है।
लेकिन अली भाई देखें, एक पंजाबी जब मुझे पंजाबी कहे, एक हिंदू जब मुझे हिंदू कहे, तो मुझे वो कॉम्प्लीमेंट लगता है, क्योंकि वो सिंसेरिटी से कह रहा
शाह जी आपको मैं कराची वाला कह सकता हूँ।
है। और इसके अंदर
कराची
कोई
वाले
मैक्सिकन
लगते
अभी
हैं।
अगर तुम कराची वाले होते, अगर कोई कराची वाला मुझे कराची वाला कहे, तो दैट्स अ कॉम्प्लीमेंट। एक
मैंने
क्रिश्चियन
आज
मुझे
इंटरनेट पे
जब
कल ये भी
क्रिश्चियन
देखा कि
कहे,
काफी उसको भी
अगर
स्लैंग की तरह
अगर
यूज
अगर
करते हैं।
मुझे कल को कोई क्रिश्चियन ये बात कहता है ना, या कोई सिंसियर हिंदू ये बात कहता है, या एथनिकली कोई मैक्सिकन कोई बात कहता है, या कोई पंजाबी ये बात कहता है कि मुझे आप पंजाबी लगते हो, तो वो उसकी मोहब्बत है। दैट्स अ कॉम्प्लीमेंट, आई टेक दैट, व्हाई नॉट।
चलो,
मुझे
गेस विल
फखर होगा
डिस्कस
अली
द
भाई,
रेस्ट।
अगर आप एक पंजाबी की हैसियत से मुझे पंजाबी कबूल करते हैं, तो आई वुड अप्रिशिएट टू बी अ पंजाबी, नो प्रॉब्लम। और बताओ।
शाह जी आप पंजाबी ही
राइट,
हैं,
सो
वेलकम
अभी
टू
अभी हम ये रूम
द।
खत्म करते हैं। इट्स बीन 1.5
जी
शाहजी
आप
भाई, आप
खत्म कर
बोल रहे
लें,
हैं।
लेकिन ये है कि शाह जी आप काइंडली, मैं हम आपसे रिक्वेस्ट है, आप अपनी ऑडियंस के लिए मुझे अदित्य को मौका दीजिएगा, इस टॉपिक पे भी एक रूम कीजिएगा, हम इस पे बात करना चाहेंगे। इसके ऊपर हमने पहले एक दो
अली
मीटिंग
भाई
की
कल
हुई है।
फ्री हैं आप?
जी आप कल मैं ये पूरा वीक थोड़ा सा स्केड्यूल काफ़ी इंगेज हूँ, मेरे गेस्ट गुस्ट हैं आगे पीछे, तो इंशाल्लाह आइंदा फ्राइडे नाइट को या सैटरडे नाइट को रखेंगे।
चलें, आप डेट
मेरे
बता
लिए
दें
आप
तो विल
काइंडली उस
डू।
रूम का वेट कर लीजिएगा, उसको अपने स्केड्यूल में थोड़ा आगे पुश कर दीजिएगा, मैं आपकी ऑडियंस के लिए ज़रूर इस पे लाइट नहीं करूँगा थोड़ी सी।
चलें, सही हो गया। थैंक यू वेरी मच एवरीवन।
चलें, ठीक है।
कोई फाइनल कमेंट्स हैं बाकी सबके पास तो बोल दें, वरना
लेट्स
नहीं,
हम
सबने
क्लोज इट।
कर लिए। आई गेस
क्लोज।
इट्स टाइम टू गो। इट्स टाइम टू गो। Aditya ने अपना फाइनल स्टेटमेंट दे दिया। He doesn't want to be attacked by Bangladesh. He's okay with Pakistan attacking. But thank you for listening in. Please join us next time.
नहीं,
We're all
एक
open for all
सेकेंड,
kind of opinions.
पूरी दुनिया देख सकती है कि एक पाकिस्तानी पख्तून लड़की एक फुल फ्लेजेड फुल ब्लडेड इंडियन आदमी को ऑप्रेस कर रही है, और ये अखंड भारत की बात करते हैं, उसको फाइनल कमेंट्स नहीं मेक करने दिए जा रहे।
No, you've already
ये
done
ऐसे ही करते हैं
his
सर
final
जी, ये
comment.
इनका असल रंग है, ये लोग ऐसे ही हैं, ये असल में किसी को भी एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर सकते। ये चाहते हैं कि
या देखो,
2500
अली
से
भाई,
छह
अली भाई
हजार
बात सुनिए।
ढाई
आप
हजार
फाइनल,
से छह
अली भाई
हजार टुकड़े हों
बात
सब
सुनिए, ठीक
कॉन्टिनेंट
है।
में।
मैं अब आपको एक फैक्चुअल बताती हूँ। नहीं अरे भाई, अब बात सुने, ठीक है? ये जो पाकिस्तान खड़ा है ना, ये हम पश्तूनों की वजह से खड़ा है। गिलगित से लेकर कश्मीर तक हमने आपको पकड़ के दिया है, ठीक है? आधी फौज हमारी है विदाउट यूनिफॉर्म, और यूनिफॉर्म के साथ लड़े हैं पाकिस्तान के लिए। गपशप नहीं है, ठीक है? जिस दिन
अच्छा, इस क्लोज
पश्तून
करते
अगेंस्ट
हैं
हो गया ना
स्ट्रीम को, वरना
पाकिस्तान
अभी
के, उस दिन
महाम
पाकिस्तान
अभी
नहीं
वो फिर यहूदियों की जो है वो लॉस्ट ट्राइब वाली
देखो
कहानियों
देखो
तक आ
देखो
जाएगी।
देखो 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 देखो,
अरे चलो, I
हम
think we're done.
फारसी बांध ना होते तो पख्तूनों की क्या एग्जिस्टेंस थी? वी मेक यू सोफिस्टिकेटेड।
हम निकल आते कहीं
हम
हम
फारसी
निकल
बांध
आते
ना
कहीं
होते
रशिया
तो
और
आप लोगों ने
वो
कहाँ
से।
पे होना था?
अच्छा, पहले स्ट्रीम क्लोज करके
चलिए,
ये
और
बता
सही
देना
है, you're
मुझे।
not even a Farsi बात, so stop claiming stuff.
I know that.
Anyway, okay, I think it's time to end. हम 30 मिनट ऊपर चले गए हैं. Please do join us next time. We love to have all kind of discussion, and we'll be back with another room. Till then, have a good day, good evening, and good night. Bye bye.